So, last session, stuff happened. You got to the Frostfang Pass. You did some talking. You did some information gathering. You decided to make your way to Haven proper. And that's pretty much everything that happened.
Yeah, I guess.
Technically fair, yes.
Technically fair. It was a very roleplay heavy session.
There was a troll,
There was a troll.
I think. It was kind of dead.
Yeah.
I
Everything's a
mean,
little bit dead
very
here.
we probably could have just gotten by without a fight if we just like gave it the horses or something.
No.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly think we
Mhm.
probably could have outrun it if we had left the cart behind. And just all mounted up and went and go
Probably.
yeehaw.
That would have been an option too.
You guys leave my only friends out of this.
No, we're bringing the horses with us.
But
I'm
the
saying we
thing
just
is,
cowboy past them. We leave
I'm
the cart.
saying I don't think anybody could mount up with Teo because he's made of stone and therefore
But no,
heavy.
I did the
I'm
math.
not.
I actually did
I'm only
this math for how he can exist.
Okay.
Guys, before you get into this, I have his weight, like his actual canonical weight is
And I
only
calculated
200
the volume of your skin.
I
Yeah.
okay. Paco,
Yeah, what's up?
What thoughts keep you up at night?
Anyways, we're in Haven.
Yeah,
We are in Haven.
Alright, so I know that Q has plans to go see Ruvith.
And I think Teo's coming with me.
I am not
Okay.
leaving you unattended.
Yeah, that was more what I was asking. I was asking who
No.
is you are.
No.
I also have the crystal. So
Yeah, I'm more just questioning who is going where. You are in Haven proper. If you want to know the general layout of the city itself, there are several different districts. But Ruvith herself is actually out of the city limits. So you'd be essentially turning around and going back into the forest. So,
but not far, right? You said.
nah, it's like an hour's walk. It's like an hour's walk and it's like 12:30, so
Okay.
alternatively, there is a marketplace. There's a park in the center of the city, in case anybody wants to get their druid on. Haven itself is very much a town that is just wandering through the streets at the entrance to town, kind of milling about, getting your bearings and stuff. You can already tell that the shops and stuff are set up a little bit weird because this city is so nocturnal resident heavy. About half of the shops are open during the day and about half are open at night. So if a particular store or place that you want to go isn't open now, it could be open later.
I was gonna go find a library.
Yeah, that's what Kirian was doing. I was going to entertain myself throughout Haven, unsupervised.
Man, I supervised the wrong person today.
This ends with another mass murder.
Arc. So
Probably won't.
Yeah,
don't
that's good
like the
enough. That's
probably.
confidence interval I can believe in.
all right, so Q and Teo are heading.
Yes, and I'm riding a horse there. Just because I
You are
can.
riding a horse.
Who let you near a horse now?
There are horses.
That are in the stables.
Yeah, we can go get them. I know where they are.
You do have two horses. Theoretically, you two could just ride horses to Ruta's house.
Come on, it'll be fun.
Fine.
You start to make your way towards Rufus' house. Like I said, there is a path leading off the main road to her house. It's not marked, but you were given directions, so you know to turn off.
I'm gonna ask you on the way, like, why are we seeing her? Because I don't think that's I don't think that was like properly like uh explained to Teo, like why we're trying to find this druid.
I think I only mentioned because Baron said so, because I attuned
was-
to that orb or the crystal. He stated that he didn't actually tell me if attuning to the crystal was a bad thing or not. He just said that since I attuned to it, I should go see Ruvus and that it was hard to unattune from. As far as I'm aware, nothing negative has happened to me with it aside from just getting mega tinnitus when we're out in the wilds and it's in my sight.
That's fair. Okay.
Is that mostly correct or not?
Yeah, that was correct.
All right.
It was a little bit less, oh, attuning to it is definitely a bad thing, and a little bit more, attuning to it hasn't been done by any of this, so you should probably go see the,
Oh, I did not know that actually. I did not know that attuning to it
I'm
was
sorry,
the unusual fact.
Yeah, that was the unusual part.
Okay.
Nobody else really made the decision, hey, I'm going to attune to this strange magical artifact that we can't really figure out what it does.
Cool. Well, that's new information. The only other information that I guess would probably be of interest is that this crystal has been known and around for a while, because Baron mentioned having it for years in his possession.
Mhm.
But so this isn't like something recent. This is something that's been around for a bit. But that's it, really.
Right. Okay. Onward. Hally ho.
Let's sally forth,
You
my good countrymen.
you make your way back into the forest, and when you're let off the path into the forest proper, you eventually have to dismount your horses and lead them on foot, unfortunately, as the path gets too narrow and winding for you to really comfortably be able to travel on
Listen.
horseback.
We've all seen the fantasy movies where they have to lead the horses around steep mountain ranges. We know. We know.
And eventually you're led into a clearing with a small, homely looking cottage. There, honestly, it looks like it was probably, it looks relatively new. Or like it was recently, rebuilt or renovated or something along those lines.
Okay.
The blinds are drawn, so you can't see inside, unfortunately.
Question:
Right.
We're still fairly close to the city, right? We're not near any of the
Yeah, we're on the way.
locations Q might remember from that dream.
No.
Okay.
You are
Just like an hour away.
You're still in you're in what would be farmland territory if the tree coverage wasn't so dense.
If there were farms, yeah.
Heights.
Although she does have a small farm in this clearing. More just, herbs and stuff.
Is she in it? I presume nobody's outside the house that we can see.
Nobody is outside the house currently.
If you would like to go knock Q.
And I will hand you my reins, and I will start yelling "Yoo-hoo" as I run up to the house.
I'm keeping an eye on this proceedings, but I'm also I'm comforting the horses. I'm patting them.
Hey, the horses like me.
I don't care. They are in a strange place. I am patting them. I am comforting them. I am
Alright,
murmuring to them in an imperial.
I mean, they're not cats, but I mean, it's clear that Teo is just a crazy person.
he is that horse elementary school.
Yes. I am
Ick.
Geralt of Rivia.
This is Roach, and this is also Roach.
They're spelled differently.
Of course.
Q runs up, yelling her yoo-hoos, and then knocks on the door, and a few moments later, an incredibly baffled-looking elven woman opens the door. She's about Q's height, red hair. She's got a blanket slung over her shoulders, and you can, with the door open, you can definitely smell that she's cooking something inside. Smells good.
So, I'm flipping back. I have Ruvith, tall woman, dark hair, pointy ears, and expressly emphasized by Barrand, not very pretty.
So your question is, how pretty is she?
Yeah, that's the key
She's
factor
decently
here.
pretty. She's decently pretty. She does have dark red hair, although red, consider if you call it dark or not, is kind of
Kind of up to opinion.
kind of up to opinion. It's like that shade of dark red.
So what I'm
Q's
hearing.
Q's gonna look past her and be, does Rufus live here? Like try to angle the neck around the door frame.
Um, she is going to kind of sidestep to block your path when you start obviously craning your neck to look around her. My name is Ruvith. How can I help you?
Gonna look at her real closely. I'm gonna turn back and yell at Teo. Teo,
Yes.
how pretty is this woman?
Pardon?
You can see from behind Q who is facing you, Ruth's jaw drops for a second, and she looks like super offended before schooling her features back into the polite questioning.
I mean, I'll come forward after making sure the horses are secured. And Zaz, do you have art of this woman?
If this woman's the one being like drop dead gorgeous, I'm going to kill Baron.
She is actually pretty attractive.
I'm just assuming that Baron has an issue with her.
That may or may not be part of it.
Okay, what the fuck, Baron?
Shit, she's gorgeous.
He may just not like her.
I also spelled her
Um,
goddamn name
Spoiler
wrong.
alert.
God damn
I've
it.
also been spelling her name wrong. I mean, yes, she's quite good looking. Why are you asking this about a stranger?
Well,
Q?
Baron said Rufus wasn't very pretty.
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure Teo's eyes just like widen at that. Like,
And that laugh was in character for Rufus.
Q. Next time we have a chance, I'm going to give you a small discussion on a thing called etiquette and tact.
Vanessa tried
Okay.
talking to me about that. It was with polite society.
Yes, or just people in general. So,
If she's working for Baron, I'm amazed that she is able to speak to people without getting herself shot.
technically, we were just picking something up from him. She does not work for.
We picked up an egg.
No, we
Well,
did
a
not pick up
crystal.
an egg.
It looks like an egg. It also makes noise.
Q.
I think this conversation might be an indoors one, actually. She will lead you into her cottage. It is, well, very cramped with Teo's wings.
I've got 6 of them.
Exactly. And this is a one-person cottage with 3 people in it.
That's fair.
So you said you picked something up from Baron, and it was a crystal that made noise. That is that why you're here to see me?
Apparently, it makes noise for Q here. Because what did you do, Q?
I just spent a lot of time looking at it at night one time, and then it started making noise.
That is close enough, yes. She apparently attuned to the package we are supposed to be delivering.
This place is chock fucking pretty much any druidic spell component or anything that you could think of that a druid would have on hand. She probably has squirreled away somewhere in this tiny ass cottage.
Lord.
She is a compulsive hoarder of the highest caliber.
Excellent.
Did
I'm
you
probably
just-
going to eat something in here that smells good at some point.
Please do not.
I mean, the stew that she's making smells absolutely phenomenal.
My favorite.
Hmm
Yeah. I attuned to it, and then Baron said that I should come here to talk about you because he said that your magic was different than his magic and that your magic would be better for this type of thing than his magic, even though he apparently had it for a while. And then we're supposed to take it back to Vanessa.
And I assume in between all this traveling literally all over the country, none of them explained anything to you?
Well, I learned a lot about horses. I learned a lot about fire. I learned a lot about, why we shouldn't wake people up at night. Um, unless there's an emergency, and even sometimes if there is an emergency, you're not supposed to wake them up. You're actually supposed to go and like think for a minute and be like, is it really an emergency or is it actually just like a raccoon? Um, so
As Q is explaining all of this rapid fire, the druid woman is just going to lean around and mouth at Teo. Is she slow?
She has memory problems and is learning everything all over again.
Is this related to the crystal? She says that bit out loud.
We think, yes, that is, we are picking it up for a wizard that is supposed to be helping us with the memory problems.
Us.
Our entire group is united by large gaps in our memory. Q
Huh.
here but lacks a lot of knowledge.
Amberlosa still remembers things.
But not the past year or so.
And this crystal that she sent you to pick up from Baron, I imagine it's a size green covered in gold.
You fucker just dropping my name.
That would be correct. I'm gonna use this opportunity to pull it out of the bag of holding.
Do you
Do
pull
I
it
hear
out of the
any?
box too?
I just pull out the box and don't take it out of the box just yet.
Alright.
There is no filter for Q.
No, none. She's the
I-
real reason none of you should commit crimes.
Do I still hear anything even though it's in the box, or do I actually have to have like
If it is in the
visual
box,
content?
you do not hear it.
We'll take it
It's
out.
the
I want
box
to
more than the bag of holding, I think.
take it out. I want to, so that way she can hear it.
Teo just makes a face at this woman, just like, see what I have to deal with, and
it
opens
out.
the box.
Take it out. Take it out. Take it out. E.
You, I really and truly do enjoy you at times, but can you have patience for maybe a few minutes? Possibly? Ever?
Okay.
Okay.
So, just some background information. So I'm sure we're all starting from the same knowledge base. This crystal is the heart of the forest. Like the capital letters, everything.
Okay.
Why isn't it
And
pumping?
Because it's corrupted.
And why exactly do human wizards have the heart of the forest?
Because it's corrupted.
I'm
Does it-
I
assuming
attempted to purify it. Not much happened. The druid circle in myself particularly given to infighting, so I was unable to try any larger rituals. We hoped that the wizards would be able to devise an arcane method. Natural methods failed.
And is there any clue on how it became corrupted in the first place? Or
That is the question. The the chicken and the egg philosophy, if you will. What came first? The plague or the corruption in the heart of the forest?
I take it this plague is isolated to Glycellin? Or
There are scattered cases near the borders of Ho-Ching, but for the most case it is localized in Glycellin, and it seems to be coming from the Desolate Waste. At least that is the current theory amongst the nature magic casters. The Arcanists seem to be more of the opinion that the plague is affecting nature, not the other way around. Or that's weird phrasing. The Arcanists are of the opinion that this entire bullshit started with the human, or right, the quote unquote human plague and moved on to the environment. The nature casters are of the opinion that the plague started in the environment and moved on to people afterwards. If that makes sense.
yeah.
I just can't think of a good way to phrase that in character.
And typically where has this heart of the forest typically been housed? Surely not just out in the middle of nowhere on the ground somewhere.
There is a tree. There was a tree. It was in the it was in the forest that is now the desert, and it was plucked from the corrupted earth. She looks at it and she makes a face.
So, is it some sort of seed? Or
I hope so. It looks like a crystal. According to the wizards, it has the structural position of crystal. But it has life in it.
are there perhaps any, I don't suppose, sentient beings or deities that are more closely in tune with nature that might have more theories? Or
I know you have memory issues, so
You-
sorry, I cut out. I know you
Yeah.
have memory issues, so I'm not offended. You just asked a druid about religion.
Is that a particular faux pas?
Yes. There is a nature deity in the Glycelion. Her name is Ilona.
Say that again. You're cutting out a
Her
decent
name is
amount.
Ilona.
No.
I haven't spoken with any of her clerics, again, because I am a druid. But there's no news about her doing anything particular to help this situation. So I assume she's being as haughty and non-interfering as most of the deities.
Has this divide between the druids been going on for a long time, or
Longer than I'm alive.
and the divide with the clerics?
I've never known druids and clerics to get along either.
Hmm.
Occasionally you get a weird nature cleric or a particularly intrepid druid who wants to make a name for the city.
And this, forgive me, I'm still unclear on the timeline of things. When did this corruption start? Oh, well, obviously you said there's a bit of a conundrum on the corruption versus plague, but when abouts did the two issues start?
One second, I have to break out the timeline.
I kind of figured with that question, but I also couldn't not ask that question, and so I apologize.
Okay, so the corruption to the land itself and the corruption to the land itself was first reported in year 204, and the first plague case was officially reported a month after,
Okay.
also in year 204. It is currently year 216. The plague itself isn't. The plague itself hasn't been going on. It's been going on a while, but it hasn't been going on for like generations.
Right.
And she hasn't told you her actual age, and she is a druid, but she looks somewhere in her, that timeless elven somewhere between 300 and 500.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. And well, we are just essentially curious, not really doing anything so involved as that, but for my own curiosity's sake, if I wanted to ask the thought process of one of these clerics, where would I even find one? It says you are muted.
Yes, because I am currently frantically searching through my notes for which cities towns. Ilona is not a deity that I knew she'd get brought up today, but I wasn't as prepared for her as I should have been. Her city is Gotsis.
I'm. Bless you. one more time.
Gotsis is the city to the far north. It's the furthest north city in England and is surrounded by the most open land and water, and it's closest to the elven refugee towns, so understandably. The wood elven refugee towns, so understandably. Nature deity with an affiliation for wood elves would be up there. That's also where Glycelin's current archdruid is. Not in Gertz itself, but the northern half of Glycelin. I think he's actually closer to down. Freedhall, maybe? He travels.
Fair enough. And when you say the druids of Glycerin don't get along quite so much, is it political, theological, academic?
Territorial, mostly.
Ah, that is not the reason I expected, if I'm honest.
It's not the best description. It's less territorial, like we're fucking wolves or something. It's more having another druid, having another nature caster, having their magic on you is incredibly uncomfortable.
Is this common in other parts? I'm afraid I don't know how common druids are outside of Glycerin.
I'm afraid I don't know much of druids myself. I've lived here my entire life. I've lived in Haven's Valley for my entire life, actually.
Right. And is it expected for the forest corruption to spread?
It
Or is it?
has been. It hasn't stopped since the start of the infection.
I imagine that is limiting the, lack for a better term, territory of each nature caster.
It's definitely affecting. It's definitely affecting that. Yes.
Hmm.
Their expression looks severely uncomfortable with that question.
Well, again, we are just curious, and we are here with you specifically to solve Q's newfound hearing problem? What would you call it, Q? What is it you hear?
I will point out that at some point while you're having this whole conversation, Q would have picked up the crystal heart and is actually like holding it and like walking
I-
around the hut with it, trying to see if the sound changes if she holds it
When-
near anything.
When did you pick this up out of the box that's like in my lap?
You were not paying attention.
God damn it.
You were enthralled with this conversation.
But does anything change as I'm walking around this hut or and holding it near things?
Is this? This is the first time you've held it since you left us, correct?
Yes, actually. It's the first time I would have held it since I attuned to it and Carrion took it away from me.
You feel you hear the ringing more clearly when you're holding it than when you're just staring at it. It sounds kind of like it's coming out of the water when it's in the box, but not in your hands. And you also have this, you still have the same pull towards the center of the earth that you had while you were in this city, but now that you're holding it in such a different place than last time, you can tell that there is a faint direction to it that isn't just down. It's
Yes, I
also
always-
kind of north-ish.
But it doesn't react to anything in the hut, right? That I'm holding it
It
near.
doesn't react to anything in the hut.
Okay.
You see why I keep that in a bag now, right?
It can't actually hurt her as far as I'm. Nobody's gotten corrupted from holding it.
She would be the first, I can guarantee.
I mean, if she does, then at least we have more information.
I'm lawful enough that I have to agree with that, but you're not incorrect.
It would still suck, don't get me wrong, but I mean,
I'm more disappointed simply because she is our traveling companion and I'm not sure how we would have to deal with that.
I can. If you fetch me a few ingredients, I might be able to try a ritual to deattune her to it. I can't guarantee that it will work, but it is something that works for cursed objects and the like. Here, let me get a sheet of paper, and she starts rattling around her small cottage looking for a sheet of paper and a quill. It takes a while.
I'm like splitting my attention between watching her and watching Q, and I'm like, oh god.
The only thing that you might not be able to find in the valley is roots from a hickory nut tree grown by cloud giants. That you might have to check an alchemy shop for in Haven. But the Hasia roots, brownstone dust, tojanada bean, and poplar tree should be somewhere around here.
Right. Okay.
But she is going to write out the list for Teo real quick on the sheet of paper and hand it over to him because she figures that he'll hold on to it for Q.
Yes.
Q's holding the crystal.
Q, do you mind,
What?
do you mind perhaps letting me put that back up?
It's trying to go somewhere.
That. Hmm. Is that normal? I'm asking Mr. Rubith.
I never actually attuned to it myself.
How many people have?
One?
And what happened to them?
I mean, they died, but it wasn't because of the crystal.
How did they die then?
Arrows.
Fair enough.
I would like to know, like, she's holding the conversation primarily with Teo, but the same way Teo's glancing over at Q a lot, she is too.
I hate to suggest this, but I can gather the ingredients, but should we see what happens with someone who's attuned to it?
Like I said, you might want to just think of what you could learn. But I'm not going to force somebody to stay attuned to it. Well, a rare artifact that we found in the ground, and it does. Other than the fact that it's presumably tied up in the fact that it's dying right now. So the ritual is there as an option.
Fair enough. Do the ingredients have to stay fresh or can they be dried?
Uh, dried is fine.
Is there any way we can help you after you've helped us? Or
Well, I wasn't going to bring it up.
Jesus. You just had to ask.
I feel like you can just see Teo's face just take on that. Oh, here we go. That momentary like stare into the camera on the office moment of just like go on.
I wasn't going to ask. But since you brought it up, if you happen to find yourselves in the mountain range surrounding Haven for any reason, and if you happen to find a wyvern, I would be very pleased if you returned in as many agents.
I will see what we can do, but I can make no guarantees.
And if you do find yourself in the mountains and you see wyverns, whether you're hunting them, watch the stinger.
Right. Right. Fair enough. Well, Q, do you have any? I'm so sorry. I made that comment to Rube at the side. Do you have any questions to ask before we head back to Haven?
I'm going to point at any mushroom she has laying about and ask her what she knows about them.
You point out the mushrooms that are currently sitting chopped up, waiting to be added to the stew. She offers you one of the chopped up bits.
I mean, I'm gonna eat it.
Yeah.
But what about mushrooms that grow with fire?
They grow with fire.
Yeah. You burn things with them and they pop out. They're blue, they glow.
We haven't had that happen around here. Were they a side effect of the magic? Was it a druid casting it?
Oh yeah,
We're
he
not.
lit on fire and mushrooms grew. He was also full of mushrooms, probably because he lit himself on fire a lot.
She is referring to a possibly just murderer, but possibly serial killer close to Rom Hills and Crow's Landing that we were charged with dealing with, whose magical flames, wherever they burned, seem to cause fungal growth of sorts.
And you said the murderer was also full of mushrooms?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and the victims of his burns also seemed to grow them on the scars, unless cleansed with radiance magic. At least that's the magic we had on hand. I'm sure other treatments might have worked as well.
Hmm. No, I'm not sending you on a job. I'm not paying you for this. But if you happen to find yourself near the capital, there is a spores druid that has aerosol in his area. His name is Cal. He might be interested in that, and he might be willing to pay you for that information.
In the area of Earthhall, you said?
Yeah, just if you find yourself in the area, it might be somebody to look up. That definitely sounds interesting, is what I'm trying to get at. But I don't know anything about it myself.
What's he look like?
Um, shit, I haven't seen him since I was like 200 something. He was tall, broad, built kind of like a bulldog.
In the face or body?
Yes.
Is a bulldog very pretty?
A bulldog is very much not pretty. If someone calls you a bulldog to your face, Q, you should be insulted.
I don't even know what a bulldog is.
Well, if we see one in Haven, I will point it out.
Okay.
You have any more questions for Ruth?
Oh yeah. None of them are relevant.
None of them are relevant? Okay.
I'm going to try to get Q to give me the crystal back to put back in the box and in the bag.
You could probably
Ruvith,
do that at some point.
Okay.
for a timeless being of nature magic, Ruvith has very little patience. She's not going to humor Q's question long as soon as it's clear they're off track.
I presume.
So, about 15 minutes into the question fest, are ushered lightly out the door and back to your horses.
I guarantee that I was waiting by the door that entire time because I was expecting it. I knew it was going to happen.
Her answers just get shorter and shorter and shorter until they just go to, mm-hmm. No, I've never seen one.
On our way back to Haven, I want it noted that I'm keeping a lookout for these herbs just in case. I doubt they're like right next to her, but on the off chance.
Carrion,
Yeah.
you are looking for a library.
Mhm.
Go ahead and make me an investigation check. All right. So, luckily for you, this is a city that is by an archpriestess to a knowledge deity. That makes it pretty easy to find bookstores and libraries, actually. There are 3 in town, 3 libraries, and then
Cool.
various bookshops scattered around. One of the libraries is very much focused on religious texts specifically.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's situated in the what's the name of the district? It's situated in the Crest, and it's like it's where you want to go if you want to find out more information about magic and all that sort of stuff. And then one of the libraries is membership only for members of the Plague Doctors group, and then one of them is open to the public.
I would like to stop at the religious one first.
All right. It's pretty empty right now because the crest is the drow heavy part of the city, so you're mostly like 3 stressed out college students and 1 librarian.
Nice.
Are you going to be getting anybody's attention, or are you just looking for stacks immediately?
I'll try and look by myself first, trying to find any information on a six-eyed fox, because Teo has neglected to tell me anything because he's mad.
You also haven't asked.
Yeah, because you're mad.
Go ahead and make me another investigation check. Interesting. All right. You take some time to look through this library, and it's not nearly on the scale of the Holy Library de Ouijas that was in Rom Hills that you never actually got to see, but you know.
Yeah.
I just realized that you weren't actually there and wouldn't know. So it's a nice, it's like the size of a shop, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's not like the size of a Walmart.
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck is a Walmart?
Don't know.
A fantasy Walmart.
I've only heard of Fantasy Costco.
Oh, you're right.
You have to have a fantasy membership card.
Mm-hmm.
You search through the stacks for books that are specifically, you know, having to do with Emporia religion. When you didn't find a clear, hey, look at this six-eyed fox in those books, you moved on to more specifically just you found a nice book on animal deities that proved to be bust. There was another fox deity, but she was more, well, she didn't have 6 eyes for one, and she was more kind of trickery and more benevolent trickery related, which I feel like Carrion particularly vibe with, unless you would.
You don't know. She doesn't know.
She doesn't know.
Okay, well, if I can't find anything, then I will find the librarian and ask.
All right. She is a truly decrepit-looking drow woman. Like, you know how elves don't age and then they age all at once?
Yeah.
She is aged all at once. And she's also asleep.
I
Oh,
don't
she's
know.
asleep?
She is totally asleep. It's
Oh.
fucking 12:30.
She's an
Yeah.
elf, though.
Not.
Hey,
She
narcolepsy
is
affects everybody.
tranced. She is zoned the fuck out.
Okay.
Is that better?
Yes.
I'll kind of clear my throat.
Yes, how can I help you? Oh, you are very tall.
Thank you. I was wondering if you had any books about a six-eyed fox.
Six-eyed fox.
Mhm.
Is it a monster or a magical creature that you ran into? She gets up and starts tottering over towards the
Don't
stacks.
really, no, but I'll just take the little figurine out of my pocket.
Ooh, that's really nice craftsmanship. Can I see it?
Yeah, and I'll hand it to her.
Okay. She'll turn it a little bit and hold it very close to her face. Her eyes are kind of starting to turn a little bit milky. Your accent, Emporie or Ho Ching?
I don't know. Emporie, I think?
I don't. I have this, and she pulls out a couple books on Ho Ching deities, which are primarily dwarven based, although there are a couple more animal based deities, and then she is going to look at the stack of Emporie books that you've already pulled out and just purse her lips and if it wasn't in there and if it's not in here, then you might want to try the magical bestiary, or alternatively you could go and speak to there's a local guild of dwarves that might know more. And then there are, of course, the local Emporie agents in the mountains.
Just kind of nod. Thanks.
And if you have any other questions about things, anything else, just come see me at the desk, dearie. And she's gonna pat you on the hand and wander back to her desk to fall back asleep.
Did she give my little thing back?
Yeah, she gave your statuette back, sorry.
Okay. Do I find anything?
Unfortunately not.
Okay, so she said consult the bestiary or the Dwarven Guild.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just to save you time, there are no six-eyed foxes in the bestiary.
Okay. Guess I'm going to the guild.
Fortunately, this is not a very common individual slash animal slash deity slash whatever you are searching for.
Mm-hmm.
Amberlessa. Do you want a more detailed description of the city before you decide where to go?
Yeah,
Are
that
you
might
just-
be helpful.
Alright, so like I said, there are a couple different districts. There is the Orchard, which is the town's marketplace district. It's open day and night with alternating stores, depending on if you are a daytime shopper or nighttime shopper. Honestly, I'd say it's probably close to like 5% of the city's residents are nocturnal. So, like, it's a pretty clear split between which stores are open and which aren't. Also in that vein, there is the Crest, which is the drow-heavy section of the city that's more active at night, and there is the charmingly named Military Ward, which is an orc-heavy section of the city that is more daytime-oriented. There's the sprawling park in the center of the city, and Old Town is where most of the residential areas are.
I guess I'll go to the market area and just wander around there, see if there's anything that catches my eye of
Alright.
unique
Um,
value, whether it is item or person that draws my attention.
Go ahead and perception check.
Oh yes,
Just as
because I've
you're,
been so great at those.
you also get to make one for Jaraz, even though you're not traveling together. She's probably halfway across the market distance.
I'm not gonna roll for it because let's be real, she's not paying attention.
She is completely enraptured by stained glass window.
She's a fucking cat. She's a cat. That's literally what she is. Anyways, yeah, 19.
The stained glass windows also catch your eye, but less for the windows themselves. The fact that this is probably the highest quality magic shop you've ever seen. That definitely seemed like something that would catch Amberlos's interest.
Yes, it is. That seems like a place I should enter and won't have terrible consequences for the party as a whole.
Alright, so you enter the magic shop?
Yeah.
Alright, it is run by an orc, actually. A full orc, not a half orc.
Okay.
And he is going to look up and give you a... It's an appreciative sounding noise, but otherwise isn't really gonna bother as you wander around. Let me see. This list is long enough that I just read like all of it. There are a lot of scrolls.
Okay.
There are a lot of scrolls actually. This roll. You step back out into the marketplace, and the magic shop itself is kind of tucked into an alleyway.
Okay.
And as you exit the alleyway and turn to head back towards more shops, you hear a loud thud behind you. And when you turn around, you see there's literally a fucking dead body like 5 feet away from you. You look at the dead body, aghast, and then
Oh,
look
no,
up
I'm not
and
gassed.
okay, not aghast. You look at the dead body in
Oh, I've seen it. Oh no, a dead body. I haven't seen or made any of those recently.
fine. You look at the dead body in minor confusion, and as you glance upwards, you see a figure duck back inside one of the upper story windows on the building you're next to.
How high is this upper story window?
2 floors.
2
It is.
floors.
It is the second floor.
Second floor. So about, would you say 30 feet?
Are you asking if you can misty step in the window?
Yes.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, you could. I'd say you can do it. You probably have
Okay.
to like take a step closer to the body first, but
Oh, that's fine.
I doubt Amberlosa cares about getting a little bit of blood on the corner of her shoe.
What you stepping? Oh, it's mud. Yeah, I'm just gonna bamf up there really quick.
All right, you teleport towards the figure just as they retreat from the window, and as you appear in this, you can see now that you're actually standing next to an inn. This is very clearly a hotel room, and backing up against the wall, kind of like edging towards the door but trying to keep distance from you, is a words. A figure wrapped pretty heavily in like a cloth with like a hood over their head and a mask drawn over their nose, but you can still like pretty clearly see bright red skin in the few spots available. And they're going to try and make a break for the door.
I'm going to tell them I'm going to speak. I would advise against that.
Are you gonna do anything other than say that? Because they are going to like sprint for the door. They do not appear to slow down when you say that. Ow! What save is this?
It's a
Constitution.
constitution.
Oh, their constitution score is fantastic.
I forgot this spell existed and I'm disturbed.
Okay. 1 second. Now I have to roll a d4. As soon as I find a d4.
As long as they don't go the direction of the door, my mission is accomplished.
For your sake, the door is directly north of them. You are directly south of them. They were coming from the west wall.
Okay.
They're you cast the spell and they make an absolutely horrified noise as the infestation hits them, and their legs just mindlessly send them directly in your path, and they practically barrel into you.
Oh, I mean, I'm gonna step out of the way from that, but... Right, let's try this again. What are you doing? Aside from dumping a body. Well, that's tasteful right in the middle of the day.
I think they as you're saying this, they're like frantically patting themselves down, like trying to like even though the magical insects have already vanished, they're still trying to make sure that everything's good. And as you're saying this, they keep turning their head to you, and then they snap towards you and pull out a knife.
Don't make me do it again.
And they just brandish it at you as they slowly back towards the door.
Don't do it.
They take another step.
I don't want to be more forceful than this. I'm more
How is this
curious.
any of your business, lady?
Well, it dropped right in front of my face. Really, it almost hit me.
Do you want fucking money to ignore it? I can give you money to ignore it.
I'm just more curious as to what's happening. I'm ever so bored in this town right now.
Motherfucker deserved a swift meeting with the ground, and I granted it to him.
Oh, what'd he do?
They brandished the dagger again. Hmm,
Gambling
there's-
money, owe you a debt, some sort of, I don't know. Slept with your lover, I don't know.
mm. Why the fuck are you even asking? Go away.
Because, much like anyone who has nothing better to do, I project my curiosities onto other people's problems.
He was being a douchebag towards the. I mean, like, so the city's all about lower races and shit, but tieflings still kind of get shit on, you know? And they keep shuffling towards the door as they're saying this.
Right, no, I certainly wouldn't have done anything like that. I travel with the tiefling, so I know, and the gods forbid I do anything a little offensive to her. I'm sure my body would meet the ground in a similar fashion. Do you need help of any kind? Because I'm willing to offer it.
You got food?
I mean, I have some rations, but nothing too extravagant.
I mean, food's food.
Sure, I'll pull out one of my rations.
Alright. They're going to make another break for it.
I'll let them make a break for it.
All right.
I've sated my boredom.
So, it is the afternoon-ish.
I'm sure that confuses some people within that establishment of people go up, someone completely different walks down and out the door.
Emberlosa calmly strolls away from the scene of another murder.
Yeah, I didn't do anything this time.
Let's just hope that no one in the party hears about the murder, because I feel like Teo's first reaction is gonna be to ask her.
That's fine.
Are
It's
you
not
all
really her MO, gravity.
you all gonna find an end?
I mean, I thought we were already at an
Yeah,
end.
we already had one.
You already
Just-
had one? I forgot if that was what I was trying to ask. Sorry. If
Yeah,
you
we
were if
arrived
you'd
at,
found
like,
an end.
We arrived at like dusk, and we ended up going to the Young Harrow Inn. Yeah,
Yeah.
All right.
Harrow. Harrow.
Thank you. That actually tells me what district do you guys set up in.
I mean, what time is it when Q and Teo get back?
Probably like 5-ish.
I mean, I assume the libraries are closed then, because I was gonna follow the Carrion example.
Well,
Mm,
if the
That's
librarians
fun.
are drow.
What?
Emerlosa might listen for belated things throughout the day as she's heading back.
Congratulations, Teo. You're in a city where everything's open at night.
God bless. I'm gonna do the exact thing that is very predictable and go to the religious one if I hear about
All
that.
right. You're going to meet the exact same decrepit old drow lady. But this time there are more stressed college students.
Ah, yes.
Because now we're getting
Nighttime
into
studying.
Yeah, it's daytime studying for them. It was the 3 stressed college students that Carrion ran into that were the night studiers.
Fair.
Just think, they're like Australians.
That's sure.
On fire?
Dude,
Oi, mate! We're gonna go down and hold a sacrifice to Loth.
Jesus
My
Christ,
boss
Dave.
Sheila is gonna sacrifice my bloke Ned. Then we're gonna wrestle some undergators.
Alright, all the drow now have Australian accents. Sorry,
Oh,
Janaea.
They are literally from down under, so like I don't see how we didn't see this before, honestly.
That wasn't even a good accent, man.
It doesn't have to be. That's the phenomenal part.
That's the great thing about Australian accents.
I hate it. Is Carrion left by this point? Am I gonna run into Carrion here?
Honestly, probably not. With
Okay.
those investigation rolls, she's probably reading for a while.
Okay.
Cricket, stop.
So you probably do actually see a purple tiefling buried under like 4 books about hoaching deities and getting progressively more frustrated.
I mean, if I see her, I'll wave, but I really doubt she'll notice.
Well, let's see. Do I notice?
No, you don't notice.
Okay.
Well, I tried. I tried to rebuild the bridge.
You're not gonna sit next. Are you going to purposefully sit in
fucking-
another corner of the library?
I'm kidding. I said I'm literally going up to the librarian. I'm not gonna sit next to her before I've even done any of my like preliminary stuff.
All right, what are you telling this old lady?
Well, one, I'm asking her if she has a decent memory of people who have passed through this library before, like if they have like really standoutish really standoutish characteristics.
Ironic that you'd be the one asking that.
Yes, well, I'm trying to figure out. Admittedly, the human man would probably not stand out, but perhaps a red-skinned tiefling.
I mean,
apparently by the name of
We got
Temperance.
tieflings. I don't know a tiefling named Temperance. No, I remember. I remember seeing tieflings. I remember seeing sheep.
I remember when they first invented tieflings.
She makes a gesture with her hands that you realize after a second is actually mimicking the shape of carrion's horns.
Right, and out of curiosity, how often do you have Imperials come through your library?
You know, I have had more Imperials come through my library today than I have in years.
Understood. I don't suppose you have any works on the religion of the McElroy, do you?
There should be. Yes. And she's going to wander.
There should
She's gonna
be.
wander.
Yes.
She's gonna wander off to the shelves and pick out the books on Emporia religion that Carrion has just put back.
I'm gonna roll up to Carrion with the book she just finished. But I will thank her and go sit next to Carrion, sit across from Carrion.
Alright. She'll go back to helping some stressed out drow who doesn't know how to fucking cast Mage Hand.
Oh, that poor motherfucker.
He's trying, okay? He's just had so much coffee in the last 12 hours.
No excuses. But does Carrion notice when I've sat across from her?
Maybe.
You definitely notice. Whether or not you show that you notice is up to you.
Yeah, I'll wave.
Anything useful?
No.
Nothing on your six-side fox?
No. The she said if I don't find anything here, then I can find a Dwarven guild. But
Perhaps. What have you found? Have you found no mention whatsoever?
no.
It is even less than what was available in Normhells, then.
Kinda raise an eyebrow.
It did not mention much, but there was. I'm just blanking on the fucking sun goddess's name again. Roshana?
Roshia.
Roshia. Roshana? Roshia. Roshana. It's a pretty name, but it's wrong. There was some mention in one of the works on Imperial stuff that's. What did it say? Something about. Perhaps the concept of the six-eyed fox being a previous iteration of Roshia's, but it was conjecture at most. Given that Roshia is apparently a deity related to reincarnation, that seems to be the only real link between the two that I could find.
I close my book and I go back to the librarian.
I open my books.
The librarian peers up at you. Oh, how can I help you?
Do you have any information or books about a sun goddess called Rosia?
Roshia.
Roshia?
Roshia.
Okay. How do you spell that?
I will
I
say
know
write down
we've
those
done
when
this
I hear-
before.
When you ask if she has any books on Roshia, she goes, "Yes, I do," and she totters off towards the stacks again. And then she stops when she realizes that the books on Emporia religion are currently being held by somebody that is reading them.
Within eyesight, I'm sure. Within line of sight.
And she blinks owlishly at the shelves for a second before turning to look at Teo, and that kind winged gentleman right there is actually currently reading the books that have information on Roshia. And as she says that, you do actually remember reading a little bit about Roshia while you were looking over the Emporia deities.
This woman has already given you these books.
Actually,
That's-
I picked them out myself before even talking to her the first time.
Oh. She's just so old.
I know. I go back to Teo.
Yes.
I need your book back, please.
How many books is it? Because it's like several, right?
Yeah, there's several books, and most of them mention Roshia pretty heavily because she's the only official deity allowed to be worshipped in the entire empire.
I mean, I was specifically looking for anything that has to do with like her rare as her not frequent death related aspect. So
Oh, her death aspect, like her wartime aspect, is actually the one that you would have the most information about outside of the Emporia. So in Glycellen lands, that would be the aspect that you would be getting the most information about.
then whichever one just seems the most detailed, and then I'll just give every other book over to Carrion.
All right. So Teo is going to give Carrion all the books with basically the information that I just sent you, Kai. Like basically you
Mhm.
managed to get all of that pretty easily.
Okay.
He's keeping the only book that has any more detailed information about Roshia because he's reading about her himself.
Mhm.
Because you're researching the same thing right now. So you're gonna be reading for a while. So information about her wartime aspect. Most. How could I best describe her wartime aspect in how it is perceived by other countries? So Roshia is primarily only as widely regarded as she is because she's one of the few deities that has been known to kill deities from other pantheons.
Oh.
That's
Well.
why she's considered as that's why she's considered to be as good at combat and at wartime as she is. And that's why the Emporia likes to herald her wartime aspect as a symbol of their military conquest, basically.
Fair and terrifying.
The only actually Teo wouldn't know any of the deities that she's taken out, so there's probably 6 or 7 of them. Actually, is there 6 or 7 of them? There is 7 of them.
Yikes.
And their names are not listed because they're dead.
Stricken from the record.
And then it is also up to interpretation whether or not she killed the deities that resided in Emporia lands before Roshia rose to power. There's also that.
Got you. None of
People,
this is
Hmm?
ringing a bell. Like nothing triggers anything.
She definitely seems interesting.
I'm going to go to the librarian again.
Okay. She peers up at you.
Hey, excuse me. From what I can tell by the patrons of your library, is there an academy or university of some type here?
There is, actually. We are the only center of magical learning other than Yehennas. And, the Pretenders in Aerthal.
Of course. I have no idea
If
what that
you
means.
leave the library, you're going to keep on walking straight and you're going to take a left at the tree that looks like it's kind of half bent. And she's going to give you like a probably 5-minute long list of directions.
Okay. I'm going to thank her, and I'm going to wish Carrion luck, and that I would tell her I will see her later, but I'm gonna go find this university.
University's putting a strong word on it.
I'm gonna go find this academy.
This does lead you into the deepest parts of the Drow district of the Crest.
I'm
And by the time you get to the academy itself, you haven't seen a non-Drow in a couple streets now.
Man, I'm really making a scene.
You have officially gone. Yeah, you've officially gone deep enough into the city of misfits that you are a misfit again.
That is hilarious. But also, I'm pretty, so it's fine.
But you do eventually find at the end of her directions, a kind of a, aesthetically speaking, it's like the bastard love child of a mad wizard's tower and like those watchtowers in Ajara.
Oh,
You know
yeah,
what I mean?
I fucks with that, yeah.
So for the rest of you, it's all pale stone and like winding, kind of curving designs,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of windows. And the two large wooden doors are open. You can just stroll on in. You can see there's no like person standing there waiting to help people who just stroll in, but you do see, you see somebody climbing the stairs frantically with a
Are there
handful of books. You
any
see,
signs towards like the administrative center or
do you? Oh no, you don't know what languages you read. You cannot read the languages.
I was
You
about to say
cannot read the signage. Yeah, I know. I had to check my I had to check my sheet of paper with all of your stats on it.
I will try to find someone who doesn't look like they're in a hurry or a panic.
Yep. You eventually find two younger looking drow who are just kind of chilling. One's kicking back with a book, the other one's eating a snack.
uh, excuse me.
Yeah, how can I help?
I was wondering if you could point me in the direction of the administrative offices or the people who can give me information on the school or staff.
Staff offices are at the top of the tower. Headmistress is the top building, or is it the top room entirely?
Oh God.
the The dude who's eating looks like he knows this is not the answer you wanted to hear, and he is pleased to be the one to impart the knowledge.
Sadistic little fuck. I guess the main thing is just, his wings sort of droop a little bit, but his face stays the same, and he just. Right. Well, my thanks. And I guess it's time to start fucking walking upstairs. Just my fucking luck. Just gonna roll up to the headmistress's office without an appointment or anything.
So, out of curiosity, what are Q and Amberlosa doing while the Emporia kids are reading and about to get in trouble with the headmistress?
See, I know you're saying that because we have been actually taking up a lot of time with the research, but at the same time, it just sounds like, well, that's how long you're going to be walking, so.
That was the implication I meant to bestow upon the group, so I'm glad you picked up on it.
Good.
What time are you going to retire? Are you going to wait for Carrion and Teo to get back, or are you just going to go to sleep at a reasonable time, or...
I'd
Same
probably
question for you,
wait
by the way.
up until about like 9:30, 10 at night. If nothing happens after that, then I'd probably retire.
And were you sharing a room with anybody? I remember the room split up was weird because of the fights going on right now. But I forget who got the room to themselves.
I
Or
think
if anybody
Carrion
got
got
a
the
room to
room to
themselves.
Carrion has the
themselves.
room to herself.
Teo and Amberlosa, I think, are actually sharing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Divorced couple.
Okay. Q?
I mean, we just ride back into town, and then Teo gallops off to the library / the
I mean, we
local
parked the horses. We can't have them in the town.
Well, if you just went off to the library and then your college level calf workout, Q is going to not intentionally, but almost certainly wind up getting themselves into a little bit of trouble as they just continually enter buildings to try and match rooms with what they saw earlier.
Are you just leaving any locked doors alone?
Yeah, like I'm not going to try to break down any doors, but anywhere I can get to that looks similar and I can rearrange furniture, there's going to be some interior design headaches by the end of this day.
Okay.
Not gonna lie, I'm sure Amberlosa hears it happening, but has locked the door and just
Oh no, this
currently is
isn't in the inn.
pretending
This is all over the city. I've already tried the inn.
Oh god.
Okay. Can you just go ahead and make me a general persuasion check to see if you manage to keep the guards from getting called on you?
Wow,
Nope.
that's better than average for me.
Let's just okay. So, you don't get the cops called on you,
How?
but I know. I fucking know, right? I decided to make it a contested roll instead of making it a DC, and I rolled a 3.
Is it like the Lincoln, Nebraska police over here? What?
So you don't actually manage to get yourself arrested, but you do get bodily thrown out of a couple places in the military ward by aggressive orcs who are not pleased with the fact that you are just wandering into their, shops and houses and stuff.
It's fine.
I don't.
And can you go ahead and just roll me a straight d20?
Holy fuck.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
A frozen turkey
Um,
falls from a passing jetliner and just takes me out, dog.
Well, no. See, the thing is, I already used. I already used what the one would have been on Amberlosa because that was the dead body falling out of the sky.
Amberlosa's dead body falls out of the sky, and I'm just confused now.
Um,
It's the dead body of the guy who threw the other dead body, and then I go up to the top, and it's a different person, and then the next town we go in, we roll a 1, that guy's dead body falls down. That's the whole campaign at this point.
you as you are making your way, I assume you're eventually gonna make your way back to the inn when you
Yeah,
get tired.
eventually, once
So
I get hungry.
as you are, yeah, as you eventually hungry and tired start to make your way back to the inn, you when you turn your head and when you look around, because I feel like you would do that, you don't see anything, but you do feel like you're being watched.
Is this a crowded street, or is it just me?
There are enough people where like it wouldn't be odd to have somebody glance at you, but you've been feeling this like you've been feeling like somebody's watching you for like a couple streets now.
No, let's just keep walking for now.
All right. You can make your way back to the inn without incident. All right. So that is just Teo out then. You climb this tower, enviously watching the, you know, the apprentices have to climb with you, but the actual wizards aren't gonna do that.
I
They're
don't get
just
it.
gonna fly.
I don't get any like. Do I get some weird looks? I'm sure.
Oh, definitely. You are the only non-drow that you have seen in this tower.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Up until you knock on the door and are invited in by a high elven woman.
I'm what?
Mhm.
Okay. First non-drow I've seen is a high elf.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like that. Out of character. In character, he don't care. Out of character, I don't like that.
You don't know the socio-political relationships between the elven subraces, Teo.
Yeah, probably for the best.
But she is going to look up at you and, oh, you're not one of my students.
No, I was actually trying to find uh, either whoever's in charge in this school or someone who can give me the information I'm looking for.
Well, I'm Headmistress Valetha. How may I help you?
Yes, I was wondering if perhaps you had on staff a specialist on symbology, or I highly doubt any specialist on theology of foreign places, but perhaps someone who could do a decent job of interpreting symbols.
We have an arcane rune master, and we have several historians who happen to focus on magical ruins. They know a bit about symbology. We don't have anybody specifically. That's more of a mundane profession in the end.
It's not exactly a mundane matter. Um, it's
Like I
not.
said, if it's a rune, we do have a rune specialist.
It's not a rune. It's a. It's. It's a weapon. It's not to go into too much detail. It is you see, I have some problems with memory loss, and I have some access to radiant magic that I'm trying to find the source of.
So you want to get the weapon inspected?
In the manner of speaking, it is something I summon.
Out of thin air or from another magical item?
Thin air.
If it's not going to hurt anything, you can go ahead and whip it out and I can tell you what I know off the top of my head. Otherwise, there are several specialists that I can send you to and they will charge you for their time.
That's more than fair, and I hope I can make it up to you in some way as well. Uh, we're in her office, right? We're not like
Yeah,
out in the
you are in
hallway.
her office and she's
Okay.
like she still has her quill like she's moved her quill to avoid like ink dripping, but she's still got it like held like partially over the
Okay,
paper
then
she
I'm gonna
was
make
writing.
space to spend a spell slot and summon spiritual weapon.
Okay.
Obviously not making an attack, so ignore the hit and the force damage.
Oh, poor fucking baby. That was a bad history roll.
Oh no.
She's going to stay well outside of the 5-foot range of the weapon, but she is going to stand up and make her way around her desk to get a better look at it. Looks like it's made of platinum.
Hmm. I
I
can't.
don't recognize any heraldry on it. I assume this is some form of weapon granted to you by your magic giver.
Whom I'm trying to identify.
Hmm. Ouch.
Again, memory loss, and I have a feeling the sooner I find out which power that there is that is giving me such powers, the better for my own sanity, really.
I can't tell you who this weapon is meant to represent, unfortunately, but I can tell you that given the type of weapon it is and given the overall construction of the blade, it's probably a military or war-related deity of some affiliation.
Hmm.
And I mean, not to put too fine a point on it, but with your accent, general appearance. Honestly, I'd say Roshia.
Hmm.
But I also literally don't know anything about the deities of lands that the Emporia has conquered. So if there's anything local there, I wouldn't be any help. I'm from Efataisi.
I'm Gesundheit? What?
It's a elven heavy area.
Fair enough. What did you even say her name was again? Valetha?
Yeah, Valetha. And that's Efataisi is primarily high elves and fuck. Google Docs help. It is primarily high elves and halflings.
That is a horrifying combination. I hate it.
You see, the halflings don't care when the high elves get all snooty, and the high elves don't care when the halflings are all boring and shit because they have fantastic booze and weed.
I hate everything about that. Lord. Okay. And you wouldn't happen to be familiar with any historians who would know more about McElroy conquered lands?
The shit. Honestly, you are in the wrong country for finding out about the Emporie. The Emporie and Glycellen have been incredibly unfriendly between Glycellen's natural independent streak and the Emporie's desire to stick their finger in every pie in the world.
So I have been learning the past few months, yes.
I mean, there is literally no reason for such an empire to put as much focus on a tiny country like this, except for the fact that we are as independent as we are.
I have no opinion to give, as I am unsure of what I am even doing here, so.
Well, that's all the information I can give you at a glance. If you want, I can try and get in contact with several of my historians and symbologists that are in other cities, send letters and stuff that'll at
I
least tell them to look out for you, put in a good word.
That would actually be quite helpful, yes. I mm, if is there some way I can pay you back for this favor?
I mean, the Academy will always accept monetary donations and the like. We aren't exactly the most well-funded organization in Haven, but in terms of more personal debt or personal stuff, I enjoy seeing people learn. As long as you learn, you are more than repaying me.
Right, well, I will still, one moment. And he's gonna dig through his coin purse for a moment. Um, 20 gold.
All right, she'll thank you and squirrel it away to go give it to the treasurer later.
And, would you rather I check in on such answers that you might find via letter, or I can technically cast sending, but I would rather not if you invade anyone's privacy if they do not prefer it.
I have been sending messages at all hours of my life since I first entered the magical field of study. Do you go back to the young hero?
Yes, yes, I do.
Alright. Let's go ahead and transfer back to Amberlosa for a moment because she would actually be the first person to go up to her room. Amberlosa,
Mm-hmm.
when you open the door to your room, there is actually somebody that's already in your room. Dressed in layered cloths and light leather tunic. It's actually the same individual from earlier, with their hood down. With their hood down, you can see the deep red skin, curved tiefling horns that aren't so much of a shock after they actually said it out loud. And they're probably like, if I had to ballpark it, like 13.
Well, that makes the infestation spell even more hilarious.
God, Amberlos is dick.
They
They are
dropped the
also
body in front of my face.
they are also absolutely enraptured by Jiraza. Whatever they were doing before they got into this room has been thoroughly distracted and derailed.
I see you made no effort inviting yourself into my room.
Okay. I'm sorry. I was going to prepare what I was going to say, but then I met this little guy.
Girl, and she is desperate for attention to whoever gives it continuously, even if it derails train of thoughts.
Yeah, I am sorry. I was wondering if you could maybe help with something. Maybe I could pay you, but you didn't. You said you had a tiefling friend.
Well, less a friend, more of an associate, but yes.
They look like 10 times more unsure than they did 2 seconds ago. um, so there's this group of individuals, and me and a couple of my friends have been getting harassed by them, and you didn't seem to really care that much that you saw dead bodies. So I was wondering if I could maybe pay you to make more of them. As they are fiddling with Jiraz's horns.
Interesting proposal. You are quite young to be making such a contract.
I mean, like I said, they've been harassing me and some of the other kids, and it's not like anybody is going to stop them. So I was going to stop them myself, but he was the only one that was a non-combatant, and I could barely overpower him. I don't know what I'd do with somebody who actually knows how to use a knife.
How many individuals?
There are 4 of them.
4. Physique, age, any form of upbringing or background.
I can do you one better. I
Hmm.
know where they live.
Really? Family or more of just...
No, they are. Okay, so they live in the house across the street from an alley where we're staying, and just they seek out kids on the street, you know?
Describe the form of harassment.
The other than kids straight going missing, mostly words and violence.
What time is it right now?
Like probably 8ish. It's around when Carrion is heading back to the inn.
How long has this been going on?
Us specifically, they've been. I mean, we started sleeping over there about 4 months ago, and they started like a week after we found that spot. But like, from what we've heard, they've been doing it for longer. She's just like laser focused on the floor. I want it noted that she is absolutely not looking at it. They are not absolutely not looking at Emeralds in any way, shape, or form.
How late are they usually out on the town?
Depends on how drunk they get. Usually somewhere between sunset and when the drow stores start to open.
This is going to sound a little bit idiotic, but race?
Orcs. Well, one of them's I don't know, whatever the feathery ones are. Either an Aircocker or a Kenku. If they're tall as an Aircocker, right?
If
Yeah.
they're tall, it's probably an Aarakocra, yes. Well, you wouldn't mind guiding me over there right now, would you?
They look up at you. Does that mean you're gonna do it?
I haven't decided yet.
Oh, yeah, I can take you right now. They make for your window and then seem to realize that they don't actually have to climb in through the window and kind of edge their way around you since I imagine you're on the path to the door.
Mm-hmm. And for future reference, when you make a deal like this, do be aware of two very specific rules. One, you do want to maintain eye contact, and two, I don't know how things are going to go, but I am perfectly comfortable. Should things go south, throw my employer under the bus. Not bus, under the carriage.
No, there's no bus.
Shut up.
Fantasy bus.
Atlesia is Catholic and Glycellin has buses.
You just need to add the fantasy first, and then it's okay. And Berlosa, you are led deeper into the military ward, and that is honestly where we're going to end it for tonight, because I did not prepare this encounter yet.
Okay.
Because time passed a little bit faster than I thought it would.